Hello and welcome everybody to our video blog series post here on marketing automation adoption patterns. We're excited to share this information with you. It's come from one of our recent surveys, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into the survey approach and methodology here. The survey was based on 1,250 small and medium business completed surveys, broken into 570 small businesses and 645 medium businesses. The approach was a telephone interview that was about 25 minutes with each of the respondents, and we identified and spoke with the IT decision maker, whether it was a C-level person or whoever was responsible for making decisions in IT purchases, projects, and initiatives. The quota, as you can see up here, was broken into small business, which we define as 1 to 9 employees up to 50 to 99 employees. So small business, those under 100 employees, and medium business, which is 100 to 999, broken into these different subsegments. Again, we got 1,215 completed responses out of this, and a good distribution in the sample. So we can actually say here that what we're reporting out today is statistically valid. So when we say there's a difference between small business and medium business, it's based on a statistically valid difference between those two things. So let me go ahead and start sharing some of this data from the survey. First thing we want to look at is current use of the different marketing automation functionality applications within those who are using. And I know this looks like an eye chart, but I'll just explain it quickly. First of all, the Harvey balls here are to show the relative position within the column. So for example, what we see here, this is a small business current use. We see the relative penetration of these versus over here, medium business currently using, which is going to show this. The darker green represents a higher level of penetration. The SB versus MB is small business versus medium business, which is showing taking the small business number, subtracting the medium business number, and showing the difference between the penetration in the two. So in this example of email marketing, there's a 4% difference in those who are currently using in small business versus those who are using in medium business. That's not a big difference. Finally, in the overall column, what we're going to see is the weighted average between these two groups and what it is in SMB overall. In this case, showing 76% using email marketing. So over 3/4 are using email marketing within this sample. I'm going to go ahead and jump in and talk a little bit more about the data now that we've got a foundation on what the slide is supposed to show. We can see immediately that email marketing, campaign management, message personalization, SEO, and CRM integration are the top 5. And we also can see very quickly that the MB, the mid-market, has a much higher level of penetration across the board. And it also has a much heavier influence on the overall penetration within SMBs. Within the top 5 here, as I mentioned earlier, when we look at the difference between the two, we can see that the mid-market is 29% more likely to be doing search engine optimization right now, 28% more likely to be using the message personalization, and 14% more for campaign management and campaign ROI reporting. So that's a view of the current use of these different technologies within the ones who have started to adopt marketing automation. Next thing we're going to look at is the intent to buy, the intent to purchase by the same group. And what we see here is that while the medium businesses were much more likely to already be using, the small businesses are pretty aggressively looking to implement, and they're implementing more in the core marketing areas, while the mid-market is refining their process and the collaboration that they have as they refine their marketing process. Again, looking at the top 5 for planning to use. Lead capture over the web is the first and most important. Deduping records is the second, based on very strong reporting here in the mid-market to do this. Social media monitoring, much more in the small business versus the mid-market. Analytics dashboard, the small businesses are also very more likely now to be looking at that. While again, when we talk about the core and the process refinement, what we're talking about is deduping much more likely in mid-market, as well as monitoring the prospects' visits for web analytics, lead nurturing, lead scoring, as those that the mid-market is going to be using, while lead capture, search engine optimization, social media monitoring, and analytics dashboard are the functions that the small businesses are going to be using. And overall, what we see here is very fast overall growth. Everything in this group between 18% in terms of plans to use and 36%. And so with that, that's kind of a quick snapshot of what they've been using and what they're planning to use. I'm going to finish out with just a quick summary here. Email marketing, campaign management, message personalization, SEO, and CRM integration are the most adopted and driven largely by more aggressive usage within mid-market, while web lead capture, deduping, social media monitoring, campaign ROI reporting, and segmentation are the most planned to be used functions, driven by basic requirements for the SBs and the need to refine the process and collaboration in the mid-market. Finally, I'm going to just throw one more thing in here, which we found interesting in a lot of the research that we've been doing lately, and that is that satisfaction level for all cloud, and in this case, this is marketing automation, but for all the cloud services, what we found is that the low risk, low cost entry, and in most cases headache-free delivery of these services has resulted in very satisfied customers, with in this case 34% being very satisfied or extremely satisfied, and 49, or half of them, being somewhat satisfied. A very few here, only 1% somewhat dissatisfied and 1% extremely dissatisfied. So overall, we've got over 80% satisfaction level in the use of these services, and we think that bodes really well for both the market and the channel, if the channel can figure out how to drive value and become as relevant as possible in helping these companies do these decisions, make their decisions, and do their implementations. So with that, I'd like to invite you all to come to Techaisle.com and see our latest research. We have finished large-scale surveys across several markets in marketing automation, what we've been talking about today, in VDI, adoption trends, server virtualization, as well as business intelligence, with a big emphasis on cloud for all of those. If you go and click on any one of these, what you're going to see immediately is a PDF that will answer questions about what's the survey about, what questions are we uncovering here, what's the methodology and coverage, as well as the deliverable formats. And we're always pretty flexible in how we deliver the information, so don't be afraid to ask in terms of customization for your own specific needs, and the ability for people around the company to get access to help them do their job of planning, and we try to make it as easy as possible. So with that, I'm going to say thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at our website. You can check out the blog as well. Sign up for our newsletter, and we'll be happy to start a good interaction with you. So thanks so much for your time, and hope you found this valuable.